Hi guys. So you see, there's this interesting thing that's happening in Nigeria right now, where the government waits for you to forget about something, then just bam, you're seeing it again in your face, and you feel like, wait, have I not seen this before? But that's what's happening now, right? The social media bill. All of a sudden, we're talking about it again, and in 2019, we're talking about social media bill and la-di-da-di-da. There were court orders. People went to the court to fight. And here we are again, talking about the social media bill. So, yeah, and guess who else does things like that, right? Wait for you to forget that they've done something and come back. Yes, our very own tech founders. So, yeah, today we're going to be talking about very, very interesting stories in the tech space today. And, yeah, we're going to be breezing through the first two, which are quite interesting, what I mentioned, but we're not going to be spending too much time on it. But we have a special guest in the house today to help us dissect the biggest story from last week, which is the story of a founder that raised over $80 million and shut down the company in less than 4 years or just 3 years. So, yeah, join me in the studio today to welcome Henry Nzekwe. I hope I got the pronunciation correct.
Yes. And usually people, put the vowel somewhere else, but you did a good job on that one. So yeah, thank you for having me, Emmanuel.
Where did you normally put the vowel?
They will say something like Nzekwe, something like that.
Oh, Nzekwe.
They generally do that, but yeah. I'm glad you got it correctly.
Good.
You're proud of yourself.
Yeah,
I'm Olúwanífẹ́mi Kọ́láwọlé, did not introduce me.
Yeah,
do better, Emmanuel.
So, right. So I'm actually beefing Olúwanífẹ́mi. She has been bashing me about the hosting. We've been fighting for hosting rights for the podcast.
I've not been fighting with him. I've been taking my right.
Which right?
To host.
The right to host. It's fine. Don't worry. We're not going to jump to. Let's not even drag this too much.
All the man can do, you know what they say.
Okay, so. Let me invite you come.
No. Some things happen behind the scenes that you're not aware of.
I'm not aware of. Yeah. Right. People, please know your friends and know people that wish you well. Okay. Yeah. So Henry works with WeTracker, Pan-African media company, and they've been publishing lots of stories in the tech space. And we said, okay, wait, let's have a change. Let's bring in some external people today. And before we talk, you broke the story for Dash, yes?
Yeah, you could say that. Yeah, I did.
Yeah,
He
so...
said to be humble.
Well, a little modesty doesn't hurt, but yeah.
It was an interesting story that everybody has been talking about. And before we head into Dash, let's talk about South Africa. So a few years ago, the NCC in Nigeria said everybody should go and register their SIM. One of the biggest telcos in Nigeria got a 1 billion naira fine. And this time around, something else is happening. Are you the one taking it or am I taking it?
I should mention it's just like the first thing that came to my mind was like, why are we still talking about issues like this in 2023? South Africa is reviewing or amending its SIM registration law to say that to make sure that everybody that registers for a SIM have their identity intact. Like, so they're trying to like fix a loophole that criminals have seen in the law that allows anybody to just register as many SIMs as possible. So now this is going to like put a limit or a cap to the number of SIMs a person can have or registered in their names. And I'm like, okay, so what if they find a loophole again?
Yeah.
What if there are no loopholes in the law? What if there are loopholes with the telecommunication companies? What do they want to do about that?
So
I just feel that
there's a loophole.
They're just targeting the wrong thing.
So what do you think they should be doing?
African countries should just focus on fixing their identification. When you're able to fix identification, a lot of things will be curbed because people fear to be caught in their criminal act. So if you can be able to fix the identification and also follow through in enforcing that if these people break the law, we can bring them to order, then people will be curtailed from doing unnecessary things. But going after this, amending a 2005 law in 2023, I think is misplaced priority.
Okay. Henry, do you agree?
SIM registration is just like one of those things the way you kick things off. When you said something governments do, when you think they've forgotten about it. Governments will think we've forgotten about something. And I think this is the reverse. It will be as if, individuals have forgotten about something, and then the government will come and rehash it. So in Nigeria, not too long ago, I think was it last year or even a couple of years ago, there was this
December.
mad scramble for the same thing.
Yeah.
And not that long ago, it was also NIN. So all these things keep coming up. I just feel like it's one of those things that people will learn to live with. From time to time, just expect your government to want you to do some kind of registration, whether to clean up a system, whether to plug certain gaps, or
to hide some things.
Or to hide something.
instead of starting fire in a commission, you just do that kind of thing. Things will get missing,
Yeah.
Not from my mouth.
Interesting one. So,
one of those things that just keep, it's on a rolling basis, basically, at this point.
On a rolling basis.
On a rolling basis. They just be like, okay. It's time for more SIM registrations.
Let's stress these people.
Yeah, okay, so let me try and play devil's advocate here, and I'm using this to cue in the next story. They said per incident, this whole multiple SIM card issue has led to fraud incidents, and they lose about $920 per incident. And yeah, there's a lot of fraud going on in this space. And it leads me to the second story, which is an OPay story, where the Data Protection Commission in Nigeria is saying they might fine OPay, Meta, and DHL for infringing on the privacy of Nigerians. So OPay, we all heard the story last week now. People who discovered that they had accounts in OPay that they knew nothing about. Meta is targeted behavioral advertising without their consent. That one is very funny because I mean
it sounds vague,
privacy.
but it's one of those vague things that you can stretch and still get the person hooked somehow, basically.
Will they be able to get them hooked?
Well, I feel like it's government. It's what government does. If they want to hook you, they will hook you. And if you want to keep being on their good side, sometimes you just have to bend the knee, so to speak. So.
You know what I think? I think this is posturing.
Okay.
Posturing over what?
NCDC or NCDC.
Okay.
Forgive me.
NDPC.
Well, you know not what you do, man.
I think it's posturing because we understand the fact that, for one, Africans really care about their privacy. Who reads privacy terms and conditions before they accept them? Who cares who they submit? As in, like, when you go online and you see some people ask questions and you know that these people are clearly going to use it for phishing, and you still see people bringing their details under those comments, you know that they don't care. So
one of my reporters fell for this, and yeah, she knows who I'm talking about. She knows who I'm talking about.
So when coming now and saying, okay, these things, if you want to go ahead and the kind of buzz OPay created online last week, you know that people were confused. One, they needed answers. You get. So if you wanted to go ahead and investigate this, you should have gone ahead and investigate it. Which one is we are going to investigate?
Well, it's news.
It's news, right? It's the news cycle.
So, I understand the point you're making, and to a certain extent, I agree about the average person not being particularly fussy about all this data stuff. Like you said, who reads all these terms of service and terms of conditions and whatnot. But somebody still has to play watchdog, because eventually things tend to, just go astray, and you need to hold someone accountable. So the watchdog has a role to play, even though, as you said, the timing of this one just feels a little,
a little convenient.
A little convenient. And it's basically like, after all the buzz in the past week around OPay, somebody thought, it's time to earn my pay. So
exactly.
Let's just,
there is the NCB. I don't care. Don't tell me how to pronounce it.
So what you just said just reminded me of NIDA 2019. They said they're investigating Truecaller for data privacy.
There's always activity. You need to show working.
Right?
If you are an organization like that, you need to show why you exist. So from time to time, you just figure out where something is going awry, and then you put out a statement or something.
Sorry, one thing. Don't do your hand like this. Normal, you're supposed to ask me questions. So
can you talk, please? Thank
I'll
you.
Talk.
Finish laughing.
So I was going to say something like, you know what came to my mind was the article Jude wrote on Techpoint talking about how startups have to pay a lot of money to change people's attitude. Like, I just realized that governments really do that kind of thing. They know that the issue we have is a attitude issue, it's an attitude problem, is a like conditioning problem. So I don't see government spending money to change people's notion. Especially if you want to address an issue like privacy like this, what you should do is to pay attention to orientation, getting people to be aware of their privacy. Then it will make your work easy. So yes, I admit that it is positioning and news cycle.
Well, we do hope that maybe at the end of the day, this will not be another one of those things that people will just forget about whenever it's convenient again to dig it up.
And
so,
I'm like, oh, that's
if they are going to take action, they should, follow it through and bring about recommendations or any kind of solutions that will actually set things right. So that, if they're trying to protect us, they should go the entire, haul and do it. Yeah.
Okay, so I know we've been bashing the government here, and so there's something that I also need to take into consideration is the fact that sometimes some of this orientation that we think is not going on is actually going on. So, for example, how many of us listen to the radio? How many of us read newspapers?
They should meet me where I am.
But they also do meet you where you are. They post on their social medias. Like every single time there's a phishing attack or whatever, that post
in terms of awareness.
Media.
I've seen it.
They do stuff like that.
Especially
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if you can say that is enough. But
they're not spending money. Like, you're trying to change me,
and
you should spend money.
And I almost feel like they also do like physical orientation,
like you're talking about something
bringing people. I don't know, but let's not bash them too much. We know they should do some kind of.
I should extend grace.
Give them
grace to the government.
Grace. I'm not usually a government evangelist.
Yeah, I believe you. But
I agree.
Yeah, in the spirit of extending grace, here's the story that people have been talking about, but I don't know if it's going to
Grace is off the table as we go into this conversation.
Yeah, so this is a no holds barred conversation. I'm going to be blunt. And let's move on. So last week we had the story of Dash. So Henry, can you give us the lowdown of Dash?
Okay. Dash is or was a financial technology company that wanted to change the entire dynamic of, mobile money, and then, sort of bring a kind of concordance or connect it with the banking system across different countries. It's basically something that wanted to be an app for everything you need everywhere you go, whether you're transacting with mobile money or bank as you're switching countries on the continent. So it started off, and then we didn't hear much of Dash, honestly, until the seed round that was announced last year. I think it was $32.8 million.
That was like a record.
It was huge for an African startup at that point in time. So people took notice, and people were like, "Whoa, let's pay attention to this company." And honestly, something a little odd happened a few weeks after that announcement, when suddenly news got out that the Bank of Ghana, was sort of clamping down on Dash and trying to, basically told them to cease operations because they were operating without the appropriate licenses. And it was just, I don't know if it was up to 2 weeks after the announcement of that seed round. So when I first saw that news, in fact, I was like, this will not be accurate. Maybe there is, maybe this is just sensationalism. Maybe there is something that we don't know. So I tried my possible best to get to the bottom of that matter, but it proved futile. So for all we know, Dash was a company that was doing quite well until it emerged that that wasn't the case. And a lot of things have since, come to light since then. The company as it is winding down, and the reason that things got to this stage, or the chain of events leading up to this stage of things, is a lot of, should I say, questionable decisions, questionable actions, just different things that happened inside the company on the part of the company's leadership. And to this moment, we don't know if some of the alleged allegations basically are, enough to actually get the founder brought to book, because from my conversations with people, nobody knows of any legal matter around the whole
Against
subject
him.
at this point in time. But there is confirmation that there was malfeasance at the heart of the issue, and it, was orchestrated by the founder and certain members of his leadership. So
Let me just interject there. Can you give us like the malfeasances, if permit me, if I can use that word, please? Precious, don't come for me. But yeah, Precious is our copy editor. So
yeah.
like, can you give me in bullet points? Like, what exactly were they doing? Like, just list them out.
Okay. When suggestions of this first emerged, and the founder of Dash, Prince Bonpong, was suspended, the board of the company called an audit, and that audit would eventually reveal, certain things. And some of the things revealed were that the company's, numbers, the numbers that touted the company's impressive growth, were not really as it seemed. Dash was said to be making, millions of dollars in revenue. Transactions processed had crossed $1 billion according to the company. Its user base that crossed 3 million into 4 million territory, according to what was reported to the media over a period. And it was found that those numbers were false, basically, and they did not have those numbers as they claimed. So it also emerged that the founder misappropriated an amount of money totaling up to $8 million, and some of this money went into private purchases for houses, property, and then I think there's a car as well involved. So this financial misreporting as well as misappropriation were some of the main ingredients in the issue, and of course it begs a lot of questions.
That's interesting. And do you have like something to say at this point?
Due diligence.
Okay, let's not go there yet.
No, I think we should talk about it sincerely.
Like now, have we heard the full story? Like, have we heard the full gist? I want to know before we move to due diligence.
Well, that's it more or less.
Because I was so I heard
there's something else
there's something I read that he was paying himself $600,000.
Oh yeah. That part.
Now that one paying plenty of us.
Salary was hefty, and I think something that stood out was the fact that the company hadn't managed to actually put its product, like get its product into the market and start making real money. I mean, all this, revenue that it was said to be making were not the case. So it was struggling internally to go to market, basically. So
wait, we're even talking about go to market, not PMF.
Actually, it had a platform, it had an app. I mean, if you go on Play Store, you'd see the app has 100,000 plus downloads. But the company's internal systems, have a number much lower at around 28,000 users. And these users are not users that are actually that the company is making revenue from. They are just users. But the product itself had, issues that were being ironed out. There were teams in several countries, from the USA to Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya,
globally
South Africa. So all these teams were in several places. The number of employees at its peak was well over 100. And it's just, I don't know if it's good practice, but I don't think it's good practice to have a team that large, to be that bloated so early.
When you're not even
when the company isn't yet making money. And then the salaries too, hiring all this quality talent from so many different places. You have to compete, and competition means you have to make good offers So there was a salary, bloat at the company, and I don't know how, eventually all the money ran out so soon, because the company in its
it's obvious. Why
Yeah,
will it
yeah.
not run out? You're not making money.
yeah, it's really fast. The burn was really fast, and over its lifetime, it raised over $80 million, and it is, most unfortunate that at the end of the day, the investors who trusted the company, who believed in the vision, will, just have to count their losses. Although there are question marks around whether the investors did their homework enough, or whether they were just driven to the next.
Yeah, so
buzzy-
back to Nefemi's point about
Yeah,
due
due
diligence. I think that's the
diligence.
main trust.
Yeah. So I think I will not say I won't tell investors how to handle their businesses, but I would just say that they should look beyond the charisma, how those people, the founders impress them, or so-called track record that the founders have. They should look beyond that and look at what they hold as values. You get, like, some of us grew up to not spend other people's money until they give us the money, right? It starts from something as basic as that. Those are values that make you to say that investors' money is not my money. Investors' money, raising money is not spending money. Raising money is to make money. So looking at those values that those people would, how they manage, have they ever even tasted having money before to start with? Because when you have gotten to that stage and you just receive one big money like this, the money will confuse you, and the money will tell you this is how you should spend me, instead of you control the money how you should spend it. So I think we should go beyond just looking at the charisma that this person has, how the person has been able to pitch what they are building, how they've been able to sell that dream to you, and go beyond that. There's this thing that I noticed with investors. When something like this happen, this is not just a statistic of 9 out of 10 startups fail. This is not the regular statistics of 9 out of 10 startups fail. This is like,
I see your point.
it's not that you get. So in this case, investors themselves are looking at themselves and they're like, no, this is terrible. So in this case like this, when you were talking about no legal things surrounding it, investors are the ones that are supposed to take that kind of step, but they will not, because it's put like a stigma on them, like why will you put this much money, and this kind of thing happen, you get. So I just feel that, I think so. I don't know who tweeted it, one of the founders, one of the OGs in the Nigerian tech ecosystem, that said going forward raising fund will be like you are going for colonoscopy or I don't know, maybe teeth removal, because they will tell you open wide.
Root canal.
Root canal, yeah. So you are going to open wide. They are going to look deep, because, well, there's no money in the investment market to start with. So we're not going to put our money where you will lavish it. And it's recurring. This kind of thing is recurring, and it's putting a bad stain on the investment side. So I hope we just fix up. I hope we fix up. And I hope media will stop celebrating fundraise.
You publish fundraise at Techpoint.
No, starting.
Well, I know fundraise. Maybe it's unpopular at the moment, announcing it, celebrating it, but I have to point out that fundraise is an important milestone on the venture journey. It's an important milestone, and it's a good thing you said media, fundraise and all that stuff, because it's media's duty to highlight what's going on, and fundraise can be what's going on, but also, egregious behavior can also be what's going on. So media is there to bear witness. So ultimately, I think the ecosystem will be better for it, given the whole incident. Although it's very unfortunate, I do believe that for the most part, the investment community does a thorough job of due diligence. But over the past year or two, there was just a period of, should I say, irresponsible investing on to a certain degree. It's almost like it became gambling at a point. You don't want to miss this ship. You want to get in early, and
FOMO.
That kind of thing. And then the African tech ecosystem is quite promising, and there's potential for people who get early ins to actually make huge returns in the long run. So I don't know how, silver-tongued Prince Bompog was, but he did, sell a vision that investors bought into. And I'm sure at certain points in time, there was maybe an inkling or an actual plan on ground to follow through with it. But it's just really, really you just can't ignore the fact that so many things went wrong, and it's not because of it, and it's not accidental. It's not something that just happened that you had no control over. These were, just some very, very questionable actions that he took, and the company is unfortunately going under because of it. So ultimately, this whole thing is a correction that has been due for some time, and it will just, it's not necessarily a stain on the entire ecosystem or a blight. It will just make us return to doing things the way it should be done. So that's what I believe.
So here is my underlying issue with all of this.
Okay, let's hear you.
This guy, you remember my intro? This guy,
Okay.
mark my words, in a few years' time, he's going to raise money for another fund. They will say he has learned his lesson.
You don't believe in second chances.
This is a
No,
second
it's not
chance.
about
Actually.
second chances.
No. This is a second startup actually.
Oh yeah, so third chances.
Yeah, third chances, right? And his co-founder from his first startup was also involved in another issue.
Oh, that's a different matter altogether. But
Yeah, you
it's-
get what I'm saying.
Yes,
it's a little
so
on
we
the
should
nose,
look at
so, yeah.
the values of the founder. I know you separate the business from the founder, but sometimes we just have to look
Really.
into
So
it.
what
Yeah.
if he comes back and say he has learned? Because so the same thing happened with Health Lane. Health Lane, actually, before Health Lane, there was Gifted Mom. Gifted Mom went the way Health Lane went. He came back and said he has learned his lesson. So
I'm not the
As
one that
have
will tell
invest-
the investors how to do their
have
business.
investors learned their lesson, or are they going to, if this guy comes with another startup
They will fund it.
and he learns his lesson, I'm going to feel bad about
I don't believe there is anybody that sets out to become a venture capitalist that just sets out to throw money away to start with. So it's the onus is on, the people with the money to actually make sure that where their money is going to, they can, rest easy that this is a bet that they should be making. And even after making the bet, how much, corporate governance is going to be put in place to ensure that things are running, on the up and up, those sort of things. So these are, questions. Maybe right now things are difficult in the market because of the, nature of the venture capital, and the financial markets and all that stuff. But ultimately, people want to invest. People want to, grow their money, and there's an opportunity in Africa. They just have to do a better job of picking which bets to make. In fact, why am I calling it bet? So it doesn't sound like gamble. Let's call it investment. Because ultimately, venture capital, it's about making money. There is even capital in the name. It's about giving money to make money. So you don't want to just see all your money go down the drain. So the onus is on you to do a better job of choosing who to give your money to. So if a founder emerges after, a period of controversy like this and appears to be a changed man, and, you convince yourself that he's changed, nobody's going to stop you. But, ultimately, the handwriting is on the wall.
right?
Yeah.
You're gonna learn or you're not gonna learn.
It's okay. It's all right. I think it's been a really interesting one. So I guess, there were red flags, and I wonder why people didn't pick up on it on time. Someone close to the matter actually told me they saw the amount of transactions that was coming through Dash, and they had to block them off because it was ridiculous for a startup that just raised
Yes,
and
new
it's
to the
just
market.
new to the market, and they are processing so those transaction figures they were actually talking about, it seems it's not actually totally fake. It's just something that
it's not genuine in that.
Yeah.
It's not real. It's not the company, doing all these numbers and transactions.
yes,
It's
exactly,
just, them cooking the books,
cooking things.
financial misreporting and all that stuff.
What's this Breaking Bad guy's name?
Is it Walter White?
Water White.
Yes. In your
It's
water,
cooking.
white, cook.
Those kind of things. So I mean, there were red flags, like you said. It is unprecedented for a company at that stage
Mm.
to grow the way it did, especially without the sort of visibility that you would expect. Especially, it's a consumer-facing company first, although there was a business-facing product that was being developed, but it was, generally, initially
B2C,
consumer-facing.
yeah.
So these volumes, where are they?
Why
So
do people using
maybe,
it?
maybe this is one of those cases where you're like, this one could have been found out. Like it could have been easy to spot this. Any small amount of due diligence should have brought it out. But I don't know how it played out ultimately on the inside. But it's the world of investing. Is it possible that someone who was in early, knew about the whole thing and wanted to get out? Of course, they need to hand it over to somebody else.
Yeah.
If you're I don't know,
They have to
but
convince other
all these things
investors
are-
to put their money in so that at least.
yeah, it's not like, I mean, it may have become a game of musical chairs where you come in and see that it's a house of cards, but then if you scream loud, you might end up ruining your own investments too. So you're like, maybe of course this is all speculation.
Yeah.
I don't know, but it's possible that this is how the company actually managed to carry on with the deception for as long as it did.
Yeah, that's quite an interesting one. So, yeah, thank you, Harry, for that insightful perspective. And like I said, we should see.
Me as well.
Yeah, you're welcome. So I think I like Nifemi and Henry have said, I think we should see more due diligence in investments and startups. We should be more critical when even someone says they've changed, because most of the time it doesn't happen that way. But yeah, that's I think those are key takeaways: more due diligence, more
Corporate governance.
more talking to each other. So like the fraud issue that happened with. Okay, let me just keep quiet. Just keep quiet. But yeah,
Right.
more talking to each other in the space, and yeah.
Okay. So
Okay.
let's talk about hemwork. If you know what is good for you.
Okay, yeah, so yeah, a bunch of other things happened during the week, which we decided to shelve in favor of talking about Dash and the SIM registration thing and OP and the rest of them. But yeah, let's talk about. Let me just give them a mention. Nigeria wants to acquire another satellite because the one they had.
Move on.
Okay. Global launches the Carriers Pledge, whatever that means. Why they gave it that name it's beyond me, but yeah,
Carriers
kind of.
Pledge.
Yeah, the
Something
Koreans
what,
pledge.
What does that
it's
entail?
it's like you are trying to say, okay, this thing that ride-hailing companies have been trying with drivers, that they consider them as contractors and not employees. So Global is trying to say, okay, we give you some benefits that normal employees have, right? Insurance, taking care of family, maternity leave, paternity leave. But you are not still our employee. But we just want to
okay.
give. Okay, that's what they mean. I don't know, but that's what.
Yeah,
is
yeah,
in the news.
that's pretty much it. That's
We
pretty
always
much
call
it.
it hybrid engagement.
Yeah. Then Kenya is
Wow.
refusing to allow boats to renew his license. Kenya and licensing issues are
I
like
swear.
this, but it's fine.
Showing everybody.
What? Well, all these things.
Yeah, South Africa's okay. Let me skip that. So let's talk about Speech Friday. I pointed to you and then you
Yeah.
talk now. Let's talk about Speech Friday.
I thought people were going to talk about your event.
Yeah,
We're getting there.
We're getting there.
Yeah, we're getting there.
If you
Yeah.
know what is good for him, we get there.
She's agitated. You thought I was about to cue in, right? No, you were talking about Pitch Friday. Come and pitch your startup. Come and learn from people, founders who are just building, very, very super early stage founders who are still trying to go to the market and have not raised $80 million. They are trying to actually do stuff, and they're looking for feedback from investors, from customers, from legal, from a bunch of So it's a very, very, very close-knit community. It's tied to the Equity Merchants newsletter and the series and the podcast. And yeah, it's holding at Zone Tech Park on Friday Friday, 3 p.m. At Zone Tech Park at Bagada in Lagos. We can also join in online if you prefer to stream. You can join in. You can join in on YouTube, ask your
Techpoint
questions.
Africa
Yeah,
YouTube
Techpoint Africa
channel.
YouTube channel. And don't forget to subscribe to all our newsletters, FinTech Today, Workaholic, and of course, Equity Merchants. Now, finally, let's talk about Yeah, we're heading towards 200 episode of TAP, Techpoint Africa Podcast.
Hey, this
200.
our host is trying me. I'm patient.
Yeah, shouts out to all our loyal listeners and watchers and viewers. And let's talk about the workplace event.
For you. The Modern Workplace Africa Conference is coming. It's almost here. I'm excited. I'm excited. You can see it on my face here. It will be holding on the 21st of October in a few days, say 8 or 9 days away. And we're working day and night to make sure you have a good experience. And if you've not registered, how do you want to experience the experience? Just tell me. So go to modernworkplaceafrica.com and register. There are dedicated stages for HR professionals and executives. Those tickets, you can get them also by going to modernworkplaceafrica.com and register. I can tell you, tell people you heard from me. We have like a very solid list of speakers that are coming there, right? The general stage is going to be, filled with insight. The executive stage, there will be master classes and workshop, and you get to network with other C-level executives. HR professionals will also be able to sit under master classes that will help them to fit into the modern workplace. And also we are bringing a very interesting touch to how you can also balance your life and your work in the modern workplace. Being a modern employee or a modern employer, you get it. There are a lot of things to be learned. You can go to the website modernworkplaceafrica.com to check our speakers, and also the agenda will also be put there so that you have an idea of what you're coming there to learn. If you've not bought your ticket, do you want me to lose my job?
Is there something for, has that been concluded?
Yeah. Yes. And you are bringing a very beautiful touch to it too, because you understand that people have families, but still they want to work. If you have a child that is probably going to keep you away from the modern workplace, we have like an on-set event pop-up crèche handled by the Baby Lounge VI, and they will have like a crèche there where they will take care of your children. So don't let that hold you back. Go and buy that ticket, the HR ticket or the executive ticket, pay for it, and you will have a nice time at the event. Yes, I'm excited. I can't wait, Event owner. Oh, Lord.
All right. Thank you so much, Nifemi. And I can feel the energy.
It's the energy. I'm not always like this. I'm too
Okay, it's fine.
That's the feeling when the modern workplace event is drawing close.
It's drawing close, right?
That's the feeling.
She's excited.
Yes, I am. Thank you very much.
All right. So, guys, thank you so much for joining us. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and anywhere you're watching this and anywhere you're listening to it, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, LinkedIn. Then for our audio listeners, Bolu is not here.
You can find us on Google Podcast, Apple Podcast, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and everywhere. Oh shit! I thought I got it.
Yeah, not Bolu. Don't
Everywhere
worry.
and everywhere else you get your podcast.
All right, people. Bye bye.
In 2 piece. Bye, everyone.
Yeah, thank you.